You wouldn't take spiritual advice from Charles Manson, would you? Of course not. Why would you take it from any psychopath? Hi, I'm Charles, and I'm putting forth the proposition that after Jesus, every major teaching of Christianity was handed to us by psychopaths. Every major teaching of Christianity was handed down to us by psychopaths. Our first psychopath is Constantine the Great, also known as Saint Constantine. He was a Roman general who became the Roman emperor. He qualifies as a psychopath not only because he was a Roman general, and that's pretty much your job description, but in his leisure time he also murdered his son and his second wife. Jesus said his kingdom was no part of this world, but Constantine brought us the mix of church and state. Constantine held the title of Pontifex Maximus among his other titles, meaning he was considered the high priest of all religions in the Roman Empire. We're told he converted to Christianity in 312, but he seems to have remained a bit of a sun worshiper. His contributions to Christianity include all those religious pictures of the halo. That's left over from the sun god. That's how he was depicted. Christmas on December 25th. That happens to be also the birthday of the sun. Sunday church service. From Constantine on, we worship on Sunday because it's the sun's day. He was a bit of a sun worshiper. Constantine also presided over the Nicene Council. The Nicene Council is where he personally suggested the Nicene Creed. The Nicene Creed is to this day pretty much the bedrock of Christianity, and it also pretty much cemented the Trinity as a basic Orthodox teaching of the Church. He ended religious debate. There had been a lot of confusion. Every congregation was a bit different. He said we needed a little uniformity. He ended the debate by killing heretics. Also, anyone having heretical literature in their libraries could be killed for owning the book, which is why we have so few manuscripts from the 1st, 2nd century. The bishops went along with this partly because he paid the clergy. He paid the clergy and gave tax exemptions for church property. And so when he said, let's kill the heretics, he asked the bishops in Rome, you tell me what's heretical and we'll commence with the killing. And this they did for the next 100 years to solidify their power. Why? Because that's how psychopaths solve problems. So for psychopath number 2, I'm nominating the Catholic popes. You might object saying some of them were perfectly nice and didn't kill anybody, but for every nice pope, there was one responsible for the death of thousands and another for the death of tens of thousands. And remember, Charles Manson didn't actually kill anybody either. They're all members of the same gang. They incited anti-Semitism, the Crusades, and of course the Inquisitions. They're the ones who picked out for you the books that they found fitting for religious reading, the books of the New Testament. And they're the ones that decided that the books of the New Testament were inerrant. In fact, the whole Bible was inspired by God. Not one word is out of place or wrong. That was the teaching of the church. Before that time, they were merely considered healthy reading. They were not considered inspired, breathed by the Holy Spirit or any of that. The major Catholic contribution to psychopathic teaching of Christianity is the teaching of hellfire. Hellfire teaches that people will suffer for an eternity for crimes committed during this life on earth. I could spend a little time refuting this teaching, but why bother? It was brought to us by psychopaths. In fact, it makes a psychopath out of God. St. Augustine was the brains of the outfit. St. Augustine gave us infant baptism, original sin, all women are bad, sex is bad, and that there's no free will. His psychopathic contributions are the teachings such as we could ignore the Sermon on the Mount where Jesus talked about turning the other cheek and loving the enemy and that stuff. He said what was important wasn't that we not kill, but that we have love in our heart while we do it. Very twisted logic. He also came up with a justifiable war theory. The justifiable war theory says a Christian cannot participate in an unjust war. And in the history of Western civilization, there has never been a war called off because it was deemed too unjust. Don't take my word for any of it. Look it up yourselves. And next we'll go to the psychopaths of the Reformation.